Billions of years ago, a chaotic swirl of cosmic dust sparked the birth of our Earth, a molten, fiery world spinning through a universe of mystery. How did this blazing orb become the lush, life-filled planet we know today? Welcome to HS Historian, where we dive into the epic saga of the world in space. Buckle up for a mind-blowing journey through eons, unraveling the secrets of our planet's origins, its cosmic waltz with the sun, and the fragile spark of life that changed it all. Ready to explore the greatest story ever told? Let's dive into the cosmos, the world in space. The grand, unfolding narrative of our world, the intricate and ever-evolving story of its origins, its development, and its vast, uncharted past remains, even in 2018, our modern age. A tale that is still profoundly, almost mysteriously, imperfectly known. Its details shrouded in the mists of time and the limitations of human inquiry. A mere 200 years ago, or perhaps little more, the scope of human knowledge about history was remarkably narrow, confined to a modest record that stretched back no further than the last 3,000 years, a mere sliver of time in the grand sweep of existence. Beyond that relatively recent horizon, the events of the deeper past dissolved into a hazy realm of myth, legend, and speculative conjecture, where fact blended seamlessly with imagination, and certainty gave way to the fanciful tales of ancient storytellers. Across a significant portion of the civilized world, there prevailed a widely accepted, yet astonishingly precise belief, taught with solemn authority, that the entire world, every mountain, river, and star in the heavens, had been brought into being in a single, miraculous moment in the year 4004 BC, a date so specific that learned authorities, in their earnest debates, found themselves quibbling over whether this act of creation had occurred in the tender bloom of spring or the crisp decline of autumn. This fantastical, almost whimsical misconception, so rigidly precise in its chronology, was rooted in an overly literal interpretation of the ancient texts of the Hebrew Bible, bolstered by a series of rather arbitrary, carefully constructed theological assumptions that sought to impose order on the mysteries of existence. Such notions, once held as unassailable truth, have long since been cast aside, abandoned by the enlightened minds of religious scholars and teachers who have come to recognize their limitations. Today, it is universally acknowledged, with a clarity born of reason and observation, that the universe in which we dwell, a cosmos of breathtaking vastness, filled with galaxies, stars, and wonders beyond counting, has, to all appearances, existed for an immense, almost incomprehensible span of time, stretching back through eons, perhaps even into an eternity without beginning or end. Of course, there remains the possibility, subtle and intriguing, that these appearances might deceive us, much like a cleverly designed room lined with mirrors facing one another, creating the illusion of endless space where none truly exists. Yet, the notion that the universe, in all its grandeur and complexity, has existed for a mere 6,000 or 7,000 years, a fleeting moment in the cosmic scale, stands today as an idea thoroughly discredited, an exploded myth relegated to the annals of outdated thought, replaced by a humbler yet far grander appreciation for the ancient, enduring nature of the cosmos that surrounds us. It is a truth universally acknowledged in our modern age, a fact so widely accepted that it has become common knowledge among people of all walks of life, that the Earth, our shared home in the vastness of the cosmos, is not a flat, unyielding plain, as was once imagined, but rather a spheroid, a globe slightly compressed at its poles, much like an orange gently squeezed in the hand of some cosmic gardener, its form elegantly rounded yet subtly flattened, with a diameter stretching nearly 8,000 miles across its majestic expanse. This understanding of the Earth's spherical nature, now so fundamental to our perception of the world, has been known to a select, enlightened few, those rare minds gifted with curiosity and insight, for nearly 2,500 years, a span of time that carries us back to the days of ancient philosophers who gazed at the heavens and pondered the shape of the world beneath their feet. Yet, in the ages before this revelation, in those distant epochs when human knowledge was still in its infancy, the earth was widely believed to be a flat, expansive surface, a vast, unyielding tablet stretching out beneath the sky, and all manner of fantastical, almost whimsical notions were entertained about its relationship to the celestial dome above, the twinkling stars, the wandering planets, and the boundless heavens that seemed to envelop it in mystery. Today, with the clarity bestowed by centuries of observation and scientific inquiry, we understand that the Earth rotates ceaselessly upon its axis, an invisible line running through its core, a line that measures approximately 24 miles shorter than the planet's equatorial diameter, completing a full rotation every 24 hours, a rhythmic dance that gives rise to the familiar, comforting alternation of day and night, as sunlight bathes one half of the globe while the other rests in the gentle embrace of darkness. Furthermore, we know that this magnificent spheroid, our Earth, traces a grand, slightly distorted oval path around the radiant sun, a journey that takes a full year to complete. Its orbit, not perfectly circular, but subtly elongated, shifting ever so slightly over time in a delicate cosmic waltz. The distance between our planet and the sun, that life-giving star at the heart of our solar system, varies as the Earth travels along this elliptical path, drawing as close as 91.5 million miles at its nearest approach, a moment of intimacy with the sun's warmth, and receding to a farthest point of 94.5 million miles, a subtle shift that underscores the dynamic, ever-changing relationship between our world and the celestial body that sustains it. These truths, now so firmly established, paint a picture of a planet in constant motion, a living, spinning sphere suspended in the vastness of space, its rhythms and cycles a testament to the intricate, harmonious order of the universe. The moon orbits around our Earth, a round and steadily spinning planet that moves through the vastness of space. Though the moon is smaller, it remains our constant companion in space, staying at an average distance of 239,000 miles. While this distance is large by human standards, it's relatively small compared to the overall scale of the universe. The moon's soft, pale light and consistent orbit around Earth are results of the gravitational connection between the two. However, Earth and the moon are not traveling alone. They are part of a much larger system revolving around the sun, the powerful star at the center of our solar system. The sun's gravity holds all the planets in orbit, forming a structured and balanced system. The closest planet to the sun is Mercury, a small, fast-moving world about 36 million miles away. Its surface is dry and scorched due to its closeness to the sun. Next is Venus, often called Earth's sister planet, covered in thick clouds and experiencing extreme heat, orbiting 67 million miles from the sun. Then comes Earth, followed by Mars, the red planet, known for its dusty landscape, large volcanoes, and evidence of ancient valleys. Mars orbits at an average distance of 141 million miles. Beyond Mars, we move into the outer solar system. Jupiter is next, the largest planet with massive storms and swirling clouds orbiting 483 million miles from the Sun. Then comes Saturn, famous for its rings made of ice and rock particles, orbiting at a distance of 886 million miles. Further out is Uranus, an icy, pale planet rotating on its side and orbiting 1.78 billion miles away. The last major planet is Neptune, deep blue in color and cold, located 1.79 billion miles from the Sun. These vast distances are difficult to fully understand. They stretch far beyond anything we experience in daily life. To make the structure of the solar system easier to imagine, scientists often create scale models, shrinking everything down to more familiar sizes. These models help us picture the planets and their orbits in a more relatable way, allowing us to appreciate the beauty and balance of our solar system from a perspective closer to home. To aid our minds in grasping the immense, almost unfathomable vastness of our solar system, let us imagine, for a moment, a simplified, scaled-down representation, a model that shrinks the grandeur of the cosmos to a size more readily comprehensible to our human understanding, yet still awe-inspiring in its scope. Picture, if you will, our Earth, this magnificent life-sustaining spheroid, as a modest little ball, no larger than a single inch in diameter, a tiny orb that could rest comfortably in the palm of your hand, its delicate surface, a miniature reflection of our oceans, continents, and skies. In this imagined model, the Sun, that radiant, life-giving star at the heart of our cosmic neighborhood, would be transformed into a great glowing globe, measuring a full 9 feet across, its immense size dwarfing our diminutive Earth and positioned at a distance of 323 yards away, a span equivalent to roughly 1/5 of a mile, a distance that would require a leisurely stroll of 4 or 5 minutes to traverse, as if one were casually walking through a quiet, open field under a clear, starry sky. The moon, our Earth's faithful companion, would appear in this scale as a small, delicate pea, barely noticeable yet charming in its simplicity, positioned a mere 2.5 feet from our inch-wide Earth. Orbiting in close, intimate proximity, its gentle presence a constant reminder of the gravitational bond that ties it to our world. Between the Earth and the Sun, in this carefully crafted model, we would find the two inner planets, Mercury and Venus, each tracing its own path through the imagined emptiness of space. Mercury, the swift, sun-scorched planet closest to the solar fires, would lie at a distance of 125 yards from the Sun, a tiny speck caught in the star's fiery embrace. Venus, the radiant cloud-shrouded sister of Earth, would be positioned farther out, at 250 yards from the Sun, its orbit a graceful arc in this miniature cosmos. Beyond the Earth's path, the vastness of space would stretch out, an expanse of emptiness that seems almost palpable, until we reach Mars, the red planet, glowing faintly in our model at a distance of 175 feet beyond the Earth, its ruddy hue a striking contrast to the void around it. Farther still, we encounter Jupiter, the colossal giant of the solar system, represented here as a sphere a full foot in diameter, its immense form looming nearly a mile away from the Sun, a majestic presence that commands attention even in this reduced scale. Saturn, slightly smaller, yet no less breathtaking with its imagined rings, would lie 2 miles distant, its serene beauty a distant jewel in our cosmic tableau. Uranus, the pale icy giant, would appear 4 miles away from the sun, its faint ethereal glow barely discernible in the vastness. And Neptune, the outermost of the major planets, a deep blue world shrouded in mystery, would reside 6 miles from the sun, a lonely sentinel at the edge of our model's reach. Beyond these planets, there would stretch an immense, almost incomprehensible void. Nothingness upon nothingness, broken only by the occasional presence of small, scattered particles, tiny fragments of cosmic dust, and drifting wisps of attenuated vapor, floating aimlessly through thousands of miles of empty space. In this scaled-down vision, the nearest star to our Earth, that tiny, inch-wide ball, would lie at an astonishing distance of 40,000 miles away, a separation so vast that it defies the imagination, underscoring the profound isolation of our solar system within the boundless expanse of the universe, a solitary oasis of light and motion in an ocean of cosmic stillness. These carefully calculated figures representing the vast distances between the celestial bodies that populate our solar system serve, perhaps, as a humble yet profound tool to help one begin to grasp, to faintly comprehend the immense, almost unfathomable emptiness of the cosmic void, that boundless expanse of space in which the intricate, ever-unfolding drama of life, our fragile, fleeting existence, plays out with quiet persistence. This vast, silent abyss, stretching far beyond the limits of human imagination, forms the grand stage upon which the countless stories of creation, survival, and exploration are enacted. A limitless canvas of darkness and light where our world, a mere speck, spins and dances through the ages within the immense, almost incomprehensible vacancy of the cosmic void, that boundless silent expanse of space stretching out in every direction, far beyond the grasp of human imagination. We know with absolute certainty of life's delicate presence only upon the fragile, fleeting surface of our Earth, this small, vibrant spheroid suspended in the vastness of the universe. Life, as we understand it, clings tenaciously to this thin, delicate crust, penetrating no more than a mere 3 miles downward into the depths of our planet, a distance that seems almost trivial when measured against the 4,000 miles that separate the surface from the Earth's mysterious, molten core, a realm of unimaginable heat and pressure far beyond the reach of living things. Above the surface, life extends upward only a scant 5 miles into the atmosphere, a slender veil of air that envelops our world, where the breath of life thins and fades against the infinite reaches of the heavens. Beyond these narrow confines, 3 miles below, 5 miles above, the vast, limitless expanse of space appears to stretch out endlessly, an apparently empty and lifeless void, devoid of the vibrant spark of existence that animates our planet. This boundless cosmos, with its countless stars and distant galaxies, seems, to our current knowledge, to be a silent, desolate realm, a grand, desolate stage where the drama of life, as far as we can discern, plays out solely upon the delicate, nurturing surface of our singular, precious Earth, a lone oasis of vitality in an otherwise barren and tranquil sea of cosmic emptiness. In the grand, awe-inspiring exploration of our planet's extremities, humanity's ventures into the profound depths of the oceans and the lofty heights of the skies reveal the remarkable yet strictly bounded limits of where life can thrive. The deepest dredgings of the ocean, those daring expeditions into the abyssal realms where sunlight fades into eternal darkness, have plumbed depths, reaching as far as 5 miles below the surface, penetrating the inky, mysterious waters of the Earth's seas, where pressures are crushing and the environment is alien to all but the hardiest of creatures. In the skies above, humanity's bold aspirations have carried us upward, with the highest recorded flight of an aeroplane soaring just beyond 4 miles into the atmosphere. A feat of engineering and courage that pushes the boundaries of our technological prowess, yet still falls short of the farthest reaches of the heavens. More intrepid still are those rare individuals who, in the fragile, buoyant embrace of balloons, have ascended to heights of 7 miles above the Earth's surface, a journey into the thinning air where the sky grows ever more vast and the stars seem tantalizingly close. But such feats come at a tremendous cost, exacting great physical suffering upon those brave souls who dare to challenge the limits of human endurance in the cold, oxygen-starved altitudes. Even the creatures of the air, those masters of flight, are bound by similar constraints. No bird, no matter how swift or resilient, can sustain flight as high as 5 miles, their wings faltering in the thin, frigid air of such lofty realms. Smaller creatures, such as delicate birds and fragile insects, swept upward inadvertently by the powerful currents of aeroplanes, find themselves overwhelmed long before reaching such heights, succumbing to the harsh conditions and dropping off, insensible and lifeless, far below that critical threshold, their tiny forms unable to withstand the relentless demands of the upper atmosphere. Thus, within this narrow band of existence, 5 miles below the ocean's surface, a mere 4 or 7 miles into the sky, life clings tenaciously, its reach constrained by the delicate balance of conditions that sustain it, a poignant reminder of our planet's singular hospitality amidst the vast, unyielding emptiness of the cosmos. The world in time. In the grand, ceaseless unfolding of the cosmic chronicle that we call the world in time, the past half-century, a mere flicker in the vast expanse of geological and astronomical ages, has witnessed a remarkable outpouring of profound, intricate, and deeply fascinating speculation by the most learned scientific minds, each seeking to unravel the enigmatic mysteries surrounding the age and origin of our Earth. This singular, life-sustaining spheroid that spins gracefully through the boundless reaches of the universe. These speculations, however, are far too complex, far too steeped in the esoteric realms of advanced mathematics and subtle physical principles, for us to attempt even the briefest summary here, for they delve into realms of thought so intricate, so delicately woven, that they defy simple explanation, requiring a mastery of concepts that stretch the limits of human understanding. The truth, humbling though it may be, is that the sciences of physics and astronomy, despite their remarkable strides, remain yet in their infancy, too undeveloped, too tentative in their grasp of the cosmos, to offer anything more than what might be described as illustrative guesswork, educated, inspired conjectures that serve as beacons in the fog of the unknown, illuminating possibilities rather than certainties. Over the decades, there has emerged a clear and consistent trend among these scholarly inquiries, a gradual yet relentless push to extend the estimated age of our globe further and further into the distant mists of time, stretching the boundaries of our comprehension with each new discovery. It now appears increasingly probable, based on the careful deliberations of those who study the rocks, the stars, and the subtle signatures of the Earth's ancient past, that our planet has existed as an independent spinning entity, a celestial voyager tracing its elliptical path around the radiant life-giving sun for a period far exceeding 2 billion years, a span of time so vast, so utterly staggering, that it defies the mind's ability to fully grasp its magnitude. Indeed, it is conceivable, perhaps even likely, that the Earth's solitary journey through the cosmos, its ceaseless orbit through the silent, starry void, may have endured for an even longer duration, stretching back into epochs so remote that they elude our most fervent attempts at comprehension. This immense length of time, this colossal expanse of eons, is so overwhelming, so profoundly beyond the scale of human experience, that it casts a spell of awe and wonder, overpowering the imagination with its sheer unrelenting vastness, inviting us to ponder the eternal rhythms of a world that has spun through countless ages, a quiet, enduring witness to the slow, majestic unfolding of the universe's grand design. Long, long ago, in an unimaginably distant epoch, far beyond the grasp of human memory, before the sun, our radiant star, and the earth, our cherished home, along with the other celestial wanderers, the planets that now gracefully orbit the sun in their eternal dance, all of these were not as we know them today. Instead, they existed, if one can call it existence, as a vast, sprawling, and chaotic swirl of diffused nebulous matter scattered across the boundless expanse of the cosmos. Picture, if you will, an immense ethereal cloud, a misty, formless haze, drifting lazily in the infinite void of space, without shape, without purpose, yet pregnant with the potential for creation. The great telescopes of our time, those marvelous instruments peering into the heavens, reveal to us with breathtaking clarity similar luminous spectacles, spiral nebulae, glowing softly in distant corners of the universe. These majestic clouds of cosmic matter, shimmering and radiant, appear to spin, ever so slowly, around a central point, as if guided by some unseen cosmic hand, rotating in a serene, unending waltz through the heavens. Many learned astronomers, those tireless explorers of the stars, propose with thoughtful conviction that our own sun, the brilliant orb that lights our days along with its planetary companions, was once, in a time beyond reckoning, just such a spiral nebula, a swirling glowing mass of gas and dust, adrift in the vastness of space, over eons, countless majestic eons stretching across the unimaginable depths of time. This diffuse, shapeless matter began, ever so gradually, to gather itself, to coalesce, to concentrate into the forms we now recognize. Slowly, patiently, through the relentless march of cosmic time, this swirling cloud tightened, drawing inward, condensing with deliberate precision, until at last, in a moment lost to the mists of eternity, the sun and its planets took shape, emerging from the chaos as distinct entities in that far-off primordial era so remote that we can only express its distance in cold, abstract figures. The earth and its pale, silvery moon became distinguishable, separate yet bound together in their cosmic journey. They spun then, oh, how they spun, far faster than they do now in our tranquil, measured present, their rotation swift and vigorous, as if impatient to complete their orbits. They were closer, much closer to the sun, their radiant parent, circling it with a fervor and speed that we can scarcely imagine today, their paths tight and rapid in the embrace of the young solar system. The Earth, in those ancient days was no cool, verdant sphere as we know it now. It was likely a fiery, molten world, its surface aglow with incandescent heat, perhaps even liquid in its fiery intensity, a glowing orb bathed in the fierce light of creation. And the sun itself, oh, the sun! It was no mere golden disk in the sky, but a blazing, resplendent furnace, a colossal inferno of light and heat, dominating the heavens with a brilliance far greater than the gentle glow it casts upon us today. Its radiance, intense and overwhelming, illuminated the nascent solar system, casting its fiery gaze across the planets as they spun in their fervent, youthful orbits, a spectacle of cosmic grandeur unfolding across the aeons. If, by some miraculous twist of fate, we could traverse the boundless, unfathomable infinitude of time, stretching back through countless millennia, through aeons upon aeons of cosmic history, to witness the Earth in its primordial nascent stage, what a strange, awe-inspiring, and fearsome spectacle would greet our eyes. The scene before us would bear no resemblance to the gentle, verdant world we know today, with its rolling hills, sparkling rivers, and tranquil skies. No, instead, it would be a vision of raw, untamed fury, a scene more akin to the roaring, incandescent heart of a blast furnace where molten metal glows with unrelenting heat, or the searing, restless surface of a freshly erupted lava flow, still molten, still alive with fiery energy, before it cools, hardens, and crusts over into a silent, blackened shell. The Earth, in this ancient embryonic phase, would appear as a cauldron of chaos, a world not yet fully formed, its surface a churning, glowing mass of unimaginable heat and power. No trace of water, that life-giving essence so familiar to us now, would be visible anywhere, for all the water that existed in that distant epoch would still be locked in a state of superheated steam, swirling and dancing in a turbulent, tempestuous atmosphere. This sky, if one could call it a sky, would be a roiling, chaotic maelstrom, filled with sulphurous fumes and metallic vapors, thick and heavy, shimmering with the heat of creation itself, a stormy, suffocating veil that cloaked the young planet in a haze of fiery unrest. Beneath this oppressive, vaporous shroud, an ocean not of cool liquid water but of molten rock would surge and boil, a seething liquid mass of Earth's primal substance, glowing with a fierce, unrelenting radiance, its surface rippling and bubbling with the ferocity of a world still in the throes of its birth. Above, the heavens themselves would be no less dramatic, no less overwhelming. Across a sky dominated by fiery, turbulent clouds, aglow with the hues of flame and ember, the sun, our life-giving star, then a far fiercer, more impatient orb, would blaze with a searing intensity, its light a scorching, relentless glare that swept across the heavens. Beside it, the moon, not yet the pale, serene companion we know, but a glowing, molten sphere, would race alongside, both sun and moon hurrying through their orbits with a speed and fervor unimaginable in our present tranquil era. Their passage would be like swift, fiery breaths of flame, cutting through the chaotic sky, casting fleeting, incandescent glows upon the molten earth below, illuminating this primordial world in a ceaseless dance of fire and fury. The entire scene, so vivid, so overwhelming, yet so distant, would unfold before us like a vision from the dawn of time, a testament to the Earth's fiery beginnings, a world of heat, chaos, and raw, untamed creation. Gradually, ever so slowly, as 1,000,000 years trailed languidly behind another, The blazing, fiery spectacle of this primordial scene would begin to relinquish its fierce, eruptive incandescence. The heavens, once a turbulent cauldron of swirling, molten fury, would soften, their radiant glow dimming with the patient passage of eons. The dense, vaporous shroud that cloaked the sky, thick with the weight of ancient mists, would gradually surrender to the pull of gravity, its ethereal essence condensing into delicate droplets that rained gently downward, clearing the firmament overhead with a serene, almost imperceptible grace. Upon the turbulent molten sea below, a vast, churning expanse of liquid fire, great, slaggy crusts of hardening rock would emerge, their surfaces rough and jagged like the first tentative sketches of a world yet to be born. These massive, ponderous cakes, forged in the crucible of creation, would float briefly upon the glowing, viscous waves before succumbing to their own weight, sinking silently beneath the molten tide. Yet, as one slab vanished into the fiery depths, another would rise to take its place, bobbing solemnly on the surface, each a fleeting monument to the earth's slow, relentless cooling. High above, the sun and moon, now drifting ever farther from this embryonic world, would appear smaller, their once overwhelming presence reduced to distant luminous specks in the vast cosmic tapestry. Their paths across the heavens, once swift and commanding, would slow to a measured, almost dreamlike cadence, tracing graceful arcs across the sky. The moon, diminutive in its stature, would have long since shed its fiery glow, its surface cooled to a pale, ashen stillness far below the searing heat of incandescence. In its quiet orbit, it would dance a celestial ballet, alternately cloaking the earth in shadow during solemn eclipses or bathing it in a soft, silvery light during the tranquil fullness of its phases, reflecting the sun's distant radiance in an eternal cycle of light and darkness. And so, with an almost imperceptible ponderous slowness, as if time itself stretched languorously across the boundless expanse of eternity, the nascent earth would begin, ever so gradually, to resemble the familiar world we now call home. Through the vast, unhurried march of countless millennia, this molten, fiery orb would transform, its once chaotic surface settling into a quieter, more ordered existence. At long last, an epoch would dawn, a pivotal moment in the grand cosmic tapestry, when the cooling, crisp air, once seething with unrelenting heat, would begin to cradle delicate wisps of steam. These ethereal vapors rising from the earth's still warm heart would gather, swirl, and condense into soft, billowing clouds, their forms drifting lazily across the heavens like silent sentinels of a new age. And then, with a gentle, almost reverent hiss, the first tentative drops of rain would descend, sizzling upon the jagged, primordial rocks below. Each droplet a whispered promise of the world yet to come. For eons upon eons, stretching far beyond the reach of mortal comprehension, the greater portion of the earth's water would remain suspended, vaporized in the thick, hazy embrace of the atmosphere, a restless sea of mist cloaking the heavens. Yet, even as this vaporous veil lingered, a subtle shift would unfold upon the cooling crust below. Hot, restless streams, born of the earth's fading fires, would begin to carve their sinuous paths across the crystallizing rocks, their scalding waters gurgling and bubbling over surfaces still glowing with residual heat. These molten rivulets, meandering with deliberate grace, would pool into shimmering lakes and tranquil basins, their surfaces rippling faintly under the weight of the newborn sky. Into these nascent waters, The streams would carry fragments of the earth's ancient body, fine grains of detritus, slivers of stone, and whispers of sediment, depositing them layer by painstaking layer, as if weaving the very foundation of the world we would one day tread upon. At long last, after the slow, inexorable passage of countless ages, a delicate equilibrium would have settled upon the nascent earth, a condition so finely balanced that a man, fragile, curious, and bold, might have stood upright upon its rugged surface, gazed about with wonder, and found breath to live, had we, as time's fleeting travelers, been granted the chance to visit this primordial world. Our feet would have tread upon vast, unyielding expanses of lava-like rock, their surfaces stark and barren, devoid of even the faintest whisper of soil or the tender caress of living vegetation. Above us, the sky would have roiled, torn asunder by tempestuous storms, its vast canopy rent with flashes of untamed fury, a spectacle far wilder than any tempest known to our gentler, modern earth. Hot, relentless winds, fiercer than the most savage tornadoes of our time, would have howled across the desolate landscape, their scalding gusts whipping at our forms with unyielding ferocity. Torrential downpours, unlike any rain our milder world could ever fathom, would have cascaded from the heavens, their ceaseless deluge hammering the rocky crust below with a force both majestic and terrifying. The waters of these mighty rains, thick and murky with the spoils of the earth's ancient stones, would have surged past us, rushing with reckless abandon, carving deep, jagged gorges and winding canyons in their hurried descent. These turbulent streams, laden with fragments of rock and silt, would have converged into roaring torrents, racing toward the earliest seas to deposit their heavy loads of sediment, laying the foundations of oceans yet to be named. Through the swirling, storm-laden clouds, we might have caught fleeting glimpses of a great, radiant sun, its fiery orb tracing a visible arc across the heavens, its presence both commanding and distant. In its wake, and in the wake of the moon, would have followed a daily tide of upheaval, earthquakes rumbling deep within the planet's restless core, shaking the ground beneath our feet with a primal, untamed energy, and the moon itself, now so familiar with its constant, unchanging face turned toward our modern Earth, would have been a stranger then, rotating visibly in its orbit, revealing with slow, deliberate grace the hidden side it now conceals so steadfastly, as if sharing secrets of a cosmos still in the throes of creation. With a majestic, almost eternal patience, the earth grew older, its fiery youth mellowing into a serene and weathered wisdom. 1,000,000 years drifted softly into the embrace of another, each eon layering its subtle transformations upon the planet's ancient visage. The days, once brief and fleeting, stretched languidly, their hours unfurling like the slow opening of a cosmic flower, each moment lingering longer in the gentle cradle of time. The sun, once a blazing titan commanding the heavens, receded ever farther into the vast celestial expanse, its once scorching rays softening into a tender golden glow that bathed the cooling earth in a milder, more forgiving light. The moon, too, slowed its celestial waltz, its hurried pace across the sky now a leisurely glide, as if it were savoring the quiet beauty of the world it circled, its silvery presence a constant, tranquil companion. The fierce tempests that had once roared with untamed fury, rains that pounded the earth and storms that tore at its raw, unformed surface, gradually softened, their wild intensity fading into a gentler rhythm, like the sigh of a world settling into peace. The waters once scattered in violent downpours, now gathered with a serene purpose, their droplets merging into shimmering rivulets and tranquil pools that glistened under the newborn sky. These nascent seas, born from the earth's first tears, swelled and intertwined, flowing together to weave the vast, resplendent garment of the oceans, a liquid cloak that would forever drape the planet in its shimmering folds, its waves whispering secrets of a world still in the making. Yet, for all this quiet grandeur, no spark of life had yet awakened upon the earth's silent surface. The seas, though vast and gleaming, lay still and lifeless, their depths untroubled by the pulse of living things, their waves rolling in solemn, empty cadence against the shores. The rocks, ancient and unyielding, stood bare and desolate, their rugged surfaces untouched by the green kiss of vegetation, their stark forms a silent testament to a world still poised on the threshold of creation, waiting in hushed anticipation for the first breath of life, the beginnings of life. In the vast, uncharted expanse of time, long before the first whispers of human memory or the fragile threads of tradition were woven, our understanding of life's ancient origins emerges like a faint glimmer in the darkness from the silent, enduring testimony of the stratified rocks. These ancient stones, layered deep within the earth's weathered crust, hold within their embrace a treasury of relics, bones delicate as forgotten dreams, shells etched with the artistry of eons, fibers, stems, and fruits preserved in eternal stillness, and the faint imprints of footmarks and scratchings, delicate traces of creatures long vanished. Mingled among these relics, as if painted by the hand of time itself, are the gentle ripple marks of the earliest tides, their undulating patterns whispering of ancient shores, and the subtle pittings of the first rainfalls, each indentation a testament to the earth's primordial tears. Through the meticulous, almost reverent labor of countless scholars who have devoted their lives to poring over this record of the rocks, the fragmented tale of the earth's distant past has been painstakingly pieced together like a grand mosaic reassembled from scattered shards. This sacred knowledge, now familiar to so many, rests upon the patient unraveling of these ancient chronicles, etched in stone. Yet the sedimentary rocks, these silent keepers of history, do not lie in neat, orderly layers, as if arranged by a careful hand. No, they have been crumpled, twisted, and thrust about with reckless abandon, distorted and intermingled like the tattered pages of a great library, plundered and set ablaze time and again through the upheavals of the ages. Only through the tireless dedication of those who have toiled across lifetimes, deciphering, sorting, and restoring, has this chaotic archive been brought into order, its secrets teased out with care and reverence, allowing us to read the story of a world long past. The full sweep of time encapsulated within this rocky record, vast and almost incomprehensible, is now believed to span a staggering 1,600,000,000 years, a number so immense it dwarfs the imagination, stretching back to the very dawn of the Earth's formation. Among these ancient stones, the earliest chapters are written in what geologists call the Azoic rocks, silent, barren witnesses to a time before life's first stirrings. These rocks, vast and unyielding, lie exposed in great swaths across the landscapes of North America, their immense thickness a solemn monument to the passage of time. Geologists, in their careful reckoning, propose that these Azoic layers alone account for at least half of that colossal 1,600,000,000 year chronicle. a profoundly significant truth that bears repeating. For half of the unimaginable span since the earth first distinguished land from sea, these rocks stand mute, bearing no trace, no whisper, no vestige of life. Within their ancient surfaces, we find the delicate ripples of primordial waters and the faint scars of long-forgotten rains, preserved with exquisite clarity, yet not a single mark of any living thing graces their stark, unyielding forms. They are the silent sentinels of a world still waiting, poised in eternal stillness, for the first faint pulse of life to awaken. As we ascend, ever so slowly, through the ancient annals of the earth's stratified record, a subtle shift begins to unfold, like the first faint stirrings of a dream emerging from the depths of slumber. The silent stones, once barren and unyielding, start to whisper of life's tentative beginnings, their surfaces bearing the earliest traces of existence, delicate and fleeting, like shadows cast by a distant light. This epoch, known to geologists as the Lower Paleozoic Age, marks the dawn of life's quiet awakening, a time when the Earth's desolate crust first felt the gentle pulse of living things. The signs of this ancient vitality, faint at first, grow ever more abundant as we climb the rocky chronicle, each layer revealing a world gradually coming alive, its stillness giving way to the soft murmur of creation. The earliest indications of this nascent life are humble, unassuming relics, vestiges of creatures so simple, so lowly, that they seem to belong to a world still hesitant to embrace the fullness of existence. There, etched in the timeless embrace of shale and sandstone, are the delicate shells of tiny shellfish, their fragile forms preserved as if frozen in a moment of eternal repose. Alongside them lie the slender stems and flower-like heads of zoophytes, their intricate patterns swaying in the memory of ancient currents like ghostly blooms adrift in a forgotten sea. Seaweeds, their fronds soft and flowing, leave their faint impressions, while the winding tracks and scattered remains of sea worms and crustacea trace paths of quiet exploration across the primordial ocean floor. These modest beings, unremarkable yet profound, mark the first tender steps of life upon a world still raw and unformed. Then, emerging from the depths of time, come creatures of a stranger, more curious design, beings known as trilobites, resembling plant lice in their diminutive forms, yet gifted with a peculiar ability to curl themselves into tight, protective balls, as if seeking refuge from the vast, uncertain world around them. These crawling pioneers, scuttling across the ancient seabed, leave their delicate imprints in the rock, their presence a quiet testament to life's growing boldness. And later, after the passage of a few million years, mere whispers in the vast symphony of geological time, there appear the sea scorpions, formidable and swift, their forms more mobile, more powerful than any creatures the world had yet witnessed. These ancient predators, with their sleek, segmented bodies and grasping claws, move through the primordial waters with a newfound vigor, heralding a shift toward a world where life, once timid and tentative, began to assert its strength and claim its place upon the earth. In this distant chapter of the earth's ancient chronicle, none of the creatures that stirred within the primordial seas grew to towering sizes, their forms modest and unassuming, as if life itself were still testing the boundaries of its newfound existence. Among the most formidable were the sea scorpions, their sleek, segmented bodies stretching, at their grandest, to a length of 9 feet, a size that, while impressive for their time, seems but a whisper compared to the giants of later ages. These ancient denizens of the deep, with their claw-tipped limbs and armored frames, glided through the shallow waters with a quiet majesty, yet they stood alone as the largest of their era. Upon the land, however, there was no trace of life's touch, no rustling plants, no scampering animals, no hint of verdure or vitality to break the stark, rocky silence. Nor did the waters yet cradle the sleek forms of fishes or the bony frameworks of vertebrated creatures, for such beings had not yet emerged in this early chapter of the earth's unfolding tale. All the plants and creatures that left their delicate imprints in the rocks of this lower Paleozoic age were beings of the shallow waters in the intertidal zones, their lives bound to the gentle ebb and flow of ancient tides. They clung to the edges of the seas, where waves lapped against the rugged shores, their existence a quiet dance between the embrace of water and the pull of the unyielding earth. To conjure a vision of this ancient flora and fauna in our modern world, we might bend low to the humblest of places, a rocky pool nestled in the crags of a coastal shore or a scummy ditch, its surface dappled with green. From such a place we could draw a single, shimmering drop of water and place it beneath the unblinking eye of a microscope. There, in that tiny, glistening world, we would find a startling echo of the past. Minute crustacea, their delicate limbs scuttling through the liquid void, tiny shellfish, their shells gleaming like miniature relics, zoophytes, their flower-like forms swaying in unseen currents, and algae, their soft fronds drifting in quiet grace. These modern counterparts, though far smaller in stature, bear a striking resemblance to their clumsier, larger forebears. Those ancient pioneers that once reigned as the crown of life upon a planet still awakening from its molten slumber. It is wise, however, to pause and reflect with a quiet reverence for the vast mysteries of time that the lower Paleozoic rocks, for all their ancient testimony, likely offer but a fleeting glimpse, a mere whisper, of the true beginnings of life upon our nascent planet. These silent stones, etched with the relics of early existence, capture only those creatures fortunate enough to possess bones or other enduring structures, or those clad in the protective armor of shells, or those weighty enough to carve their fleeting trails and footprints into the yielding mud of primordial shores. Without such hard, resilient features, a creature's presence fades into the abyss of time, leaving no fossilized echo for future ages to uncover. In our modern world, countless thousands of species, delicate, soft-bodied beings, too fragile to withstand the relentless march of eons, flourish and fade without hope of leaving a mark for future geologists to ponder. So, too, in the distant past, millions upon millions of such ephemeral creatures may have thrived, multiplied, and vanished, their existence a silent symphony played upon the stage of a world yet to be fully formed, their legacy lost to the unyielding currents of time. In the warm, shallow lakes and seas of that so-called Azoic period, long before the first traces of life appear in the rocky record, the waters may have pulsed with an infinite variety of humble, jelly-like beings, shellless, boneless, and soft as the dreams of the earth itself. These delicate creatures, drifting in the sunlit embrace of ancient tides, may have teemed in countless numbers, their forms swaying in the gentle currents of a world still cloaked in warmth and possibility. Upon the intertidal rocks and beaches, kissed by the light of a younger sun, a multitude of green, scummy plants may have spread their verdant veils, their soft, filmy tendrils carpeting the rugged surfaces in a quiet prelude to life's grand unfolding. Yet of these countless lives no trace remains, for the record of the rocks is not a complete chronicle of existence, any more than the ledges of a bank could account for every soul dwelling in its shadow. Only when a species begins to craft a shell, a spicule, a carapace, or a lime-supported stem, only when it sets aside some enduring fragment for the future, does it etch its name into the eternal archive of the earth. And yet, in the deepest, most ancient rocks, those predating even the earliest fossil traces, there lies a subtle clue, a whisper of possibility. Graphite, that dark, uncombined form of carbon, is sometimes found embedded within these primordial layers, its presence a quiet enigma. Some learned minds with cautious reverence suggest that this carbon may have been wrested from its chemical bonds through the vital, unseen activities of living things, creatures unknown, unrecorded, and lost to time's embrace. In this faint trace, we glimpse the shadow of life's earliest stirrings, a fleeting echo of a world alive with possibility, yet forever veiled in mystery. The age of fishes. In those ancient days, when the world was thought to have spun through a mere handful of millennia, a time so brief it seemed but a fleeting breath in the grand tapestry of eternity, humanity held fast to the notion that the myriad species of plants and animals were immutable, eternal, and unchanging. Each leaf, each creature, from the humblest fern to the mightiest beast, was believed to have been crafted in its final, flawless form by a divine hand, each species standing alone, untouched by the passage of time, as fixed and perfect as the stars in the heavens. But as curious minds began to turn their gaze downward to the silent, weathered pages of the record of the rocks, this steadfast belief began to crumble like ancient stone softened by the relentless caress of time. In its place, a new suspicion took root, a whisper of doubt that grew into a profound and transformative idea, stirring the very foundations of human thought. This suspicion, born from the meticulous study of the Earth's stratified archives, suggested that many species, far from being eternal, had shifted and transformed, their forms molded slowly, almost imperceptibly, through the vast, unhurried expanse of countless ages. This idea, delicate at first, like a seedling breaking through the earth, blossomed into a grand and sweeping conviction, a belief known as organic evolution. This doctrine, radiant with the promise of discovery, proclaimed that all species of life upon our planet, whether animal or vegetable, were not separate creations, but kin, bound together by a shared lineage that stretched back through the eons. From some simple, almost structureless ancestor, a humble spark of living substance adrift in the warm, primordial waters of the so-called azoic seas, all life had descended, its forms shaped and reshaped by the slow, continuous processes of change, each generation a gentle step along an endless journey of transformation, woven into the eternal fabric of the Earth's unfolding story. The question of organic evolution, much like the profound mystery of the Earth's vast age, has long been a crucible for heated and bitter controversy, its ideas stirring passions that echoed through the halls of thought and belief. In times now faded into the mists of history, there exists a curious conviction, born of obscure and tangled reasons, that to embrace the notion of organic evolution was to stand in defiance of the sacred tenets of sound Christian, Jewish, and Muslim doctrine. This belief, rigid and unyielding, cast a shadow over the minds of the faithful, binding them to a vision of a world where life was fixed, unchanging, and divinely ordained. Yet, as the relentless march of time and the gentle light of reason prevailed, those shadows dispersed, and the barriers of dogma softened like ancient stones worn smooth by the patient flow of a river. Today, the most steadfast adherents of Catholic, Protestant, Jewish, and Mohammedan faith stand free, unshackled by the constraints of old fears, to embrace this newer, broader vision, one that weaves all living things into a single, magnificent tapestry of shared origin, a lineage stretching back through the unfathomable depths of time. No spark of life, it seems, burst suddenly upon the earth's silent stage, as if conjured by a momentary whim of creation. Instead, life grew and grows still, its journey a slow, deliberate unfolding, a quiet symphony played across eons so vast that the imagination staggers, reeling at the immensity of the gulfs of time. Age upon age, through epochs that stretch beyond the grasp of mortal thought, life has stirred, first as a faint, trembling pulse in the warm, intertidal slime of a primordial world. From that humble beginning, it has reached ever upward, striving with patient grace toward freedom, power, and the dawning light of consciousness. A journey not of sudden leaps, but of gradual, relentless growth, each step a testament to the enduring will of life to become, to rise, to know, within the eternal embrace of the earth's ancient story. Life, in its essence, is a tapestry woven from the threads of countless individuals, each a distinct, singular entity, standing apart from the inanimate world's formless lumps, its boundless masses, or its rigid, motionless crystals, which lie forever still in their unyielding silence. These living beings, vibrant and dynamic, possess qualities that set them apart from the lifeless matter that surrounds them, qualities so profound they seem to pulse with the very breath of existence. With a quiet, almost miraculous alchemy, they draw into themselves the raw stuff of the world, of the matter inert and unformed, and transform it, weaving it into the very fabric of their being, making it one with their living essence. They consume, they assimilate, they grow, and in a dance as ancient as time itself, they bring forth new life, reproducing their kind in an act of creation that echoes across the ages. These individuals, each a unique spark in the grand fire of life, possess the sacred power to give rise to others, new beings, born of their essence, who carry forward the flame of existence. For the most part, these offspring mirror their parents, bearing the unmistakable stamp of their lineage, a familial resemblance that binds them across generations like a golden thread woven through the tapestry of time. Yet, within this likeness lies a subtle, wondrous variation, a delicate difference that sets each child apart from its parent, a whisper of uniqueness that ensures no two beings are ever truly identical. This truth holds fast across every species, from the humblest creature stirring in the ancient seas to the most complex forms that would one day walk the earth. At every stage of life, from the first faint quiver of existence to the full bloom of maturity, there exists this dual legacy, a specific familial echo of the parent, tempered by an individual distinction, a quiet divergence that makes each offspring a singular note in the eternal symphony of life. In the grand unfolding mystery of life, even the most learned scientific minds, with all their probing curiosity and tireless inquiry, stand humbled before the enigma of why offspring both mirror and diverge from their parents. This dual nature of heredity, where each new generation carries the echo of its forebears, yet sings its own unique note in the symphony of existence, remains a puzzle, cloaked in the soft veils of the unknown, beyond the reach of precise explanation. Yet this truth, so clear and undeniable, lies before us. Every child of life, born of its parent's essence, is at once a reflection and a variation, a delicate balance of sameness and difference woven into the fabric of being. And from this simple, profound reality flows a consequence so inevitable, so rooted in the quiet wisdom of common sense, that it needs no intricate theory to affirm its truth. If the conditions under which a species dwells, the air it breathes, the waters it navigates, the earth it treads, shift and transform, as they have through the vast, unhurried ages, then the species itself must surely bend and adapt, its form reshaped by the gentle, relentless hand of change. In every generation, within the teeming ranks of a species, there arise individuals touched by subtle differences, unique variations, like ripples spreading across a still pond. Some, by the grace of these distinctions, find themselves better suited to the new rhythms of their world, their traits aligning harmoniously with the demands of altered skies, shifting seas, or changing lands. Others, marked by differences less fortunate, struggle to find their place, their forms less attuned to the challenges of their transformed surroundings. And so, with a quiet inevitability, those better adapted endure, their lives stretching longer, their offspring more numerous, their legacy flourishing in the embrace of time. They weave their essence more abundantly into the tapestry of their kind, while those less suited fade, their numbers dwindling like shadows at dusk. Generation upon generation, this gentle sifting continues, steering the species, with patient grace, toward a form more fitted to the world it inhabits, a process not so much a theory born of scholarly debate, but a necessary truth, a deduction as clear as the rising sun, drawn from the elemental facts of reproduction and individual variation. This process, known as natural selection, stands not as a mere hypothesis, but as an unshakable cornerstone of life's enduring story, as undeniable as the pulse of existence itself. Yet, in the vast, uncharted reaches of life's journey, there may linger other forces, mysterious, unseen currents that shape, preserve, or dissolve species, about which science, in its cautious humility, remains uncertain or unaware. But to deny the quiet, ceaseless work of natural selection, this patient sculptor of life since its earliest stirrings, is to turn away from the very truths that bind the living world. Such a denial could only spring from an ignorance of life's elemental realities, or an inability to trace the simple threads of reason through the grand, eternal narrative of existence. Across the ages, countless scientific minds, their thoughts alight with curiosity and wonder, have turned their gaze to the profound mystery of life's first faint stirrings, weaving speculations as intricate and captivating as the threads of a dream. These musings, shimmering with the allure of possibility, dance at the edges of human understanding, each hypothesis a delicate thread spun from the loom of imagination, yet none bearing the weight of certainty. For all their brilliance, these contemplations remain but whispers in the vast silence of the unknown, as there exists no definitive knowledge, no single guess, so compelling as to claim the truth of how life's gentle spark first flickered into being. The origins of existence, shrouded in the mists of time, lie beyond the grasp of even the most learned, a secret held close by the ancient earth. its answer veiled in the quiet depths of eons long past. Yet, amidst this enigma, a chorus of agreement rises from those who ponder the deep past, their voices converging on a vision both simple and profound. Nearly all authorities, with a reverence for the delicate balance of creation, concur that life likely took its first tentative breath upon the humble stage of mud or sand, where warm, sunlit waters, brackish and shallow, cradled the seeds of existence in these gentle, nurturing pools. Kissed by the golden rays of a younger sun, life may have stirred, its earliest forms emerging like faint ripples spreading across a tranquil sea. From these primordial shores, life began its slow, graceful ascent, spreading with quiet determination up the beaches, where the tides ebbed and flowed in an eternal rhythm, tracing the intertidal lines with their ceaseless dance. Outward it ventured too into the open waters, where the vast, shimmering expanse of the ancient seas beckoned, inviting life to explore, to expand, to weave its delicate threads into the boundless tapestry of a world awakening to the pulse of creation. In that primordial dawn, the early world pulsed with the restless energy of a turbulent sea, its waters alive with the ceaseless dance of strong tides and swirling currents, a realm where the elements themselves seemed to breathe with untamed vigor. The ancient oceans, vast and untempered, churned with a relentless force, their waves sweeping across the nascent shores in an eternal cycle of creation and destruction. Countless individuals, fragile sparks of nascent life, faced an unending trial, their delicate forms caught in the merciless grip of nature's caprice. Some were swept high upon the rugged beaches, stranded beneath the unrelenting gaze of a younger sun, their essence drying to dust in the harsh, unyielding air. Others were carried far from the safety of the shallows, drawn inexorably out to the open sea, where they sank into the cold, shadowed depths, beyond the reach of life-giving air and the warm embrace of sunlight, lost forever to the abyss. In this crucible of primal forces, the conditions of that early world shaped life's tentative steps, favoring those beings with the resilience to endure, to cling steadfastly to existence amidst the chaos. Every tendency to root and hold fast, to anchor oneself against the relentless pull of tides and currents, was a quiet triumph, a whisper of survival etched into the fabric of being. Those creatures that could form an outer skin, a protective casing woven from the raw materials of their world, found shelter from the immediate threat of desiccation, their fragile forms shielded as they lay exposed upon the sun-scorched shores. These early armors, humble yet vital, became life's first defense, a testament to its unyielding will to persist. And within these nascent beings, other delicate sensitivities began to stir, guiding them through the perils of their world. A faint awareness of taste, like a soft beacon in the murky waters, would draw an individual toward the sustenance it craved, its movements steered by the promise of nourishment hidden in the currents. A subtle sensitivity to light, too, became a guiding star, urging the creature to wriggle free from the oppressive darkness of the sea's deep caverns where shadows smothered hope, or to retreat from the blinding glare of the treacherous shallows, where danger lurked in the unrelenting brilliance. Each movement, each instinct was a step toward survival, a quiet victory in the slow, relentless journey of life's unfolding as it learned to navigate the turbulent, sunlit world of its birth. In the tender infancy of life's grand journey upon this ancient earth, the earliest shells and armors woven by living beings likely served as humble shields, not against the snapping jaws or slashing claws of active foes, but against the silent, relentless threat of desiccation. These delicate casings, crafted from the raw essence of a primordial world, stood as quiet guardians, protecting fragile forms from the harsh, drying kiss of the air that greeted them when swept ashore by the restless tides. In those sunlit shallows where waves lapped ceaselessly against the rugged edges of the earth, these protective coverings, whether the brittle shells of tiny creatures or the sturdy carapaces of early pioneers, offered a sanctuary, preserving the delicate spark of life within from the withering glare of a younger sun. They were life's first tentative fortifications, born not of conflict, but of necessity, a gentle armor against the unyielding elements of a world still raw and unformed. Yet, as the eons drifted by, like soft waves fading into the horizon, the story of life took on a fiercer hue. Tooth and claw, those sharp heralds of struggle, made their entrance early upon the stage of earthly history, their presence a whisper of the conflicts to come. In the churning seas and along the primordial shores, where life's earliest champions vied for survival, these tools of predation and defense emerged, their edges honed by the relentless pressures of existence. The quiet sanctuary of the ancient waters began to ripple with the stirrings of competition, as creatures, once bound only by the elements, turned to face one another in the timeless dance of survival, their forms shaped anew by the dawning age of struggle. In the ancient chronicles of the earth's unfolding, we have already cast our gaze upon the formidable water scorpions, those ancient titans of the primordial seas, whose sleek, armored forms stretched up to 9 feet in length, a testament to their dominion. For long, uncounted ages, these creatures reigned as the unchallenged sovereigns of life, their claw-tipped limbs slicing through the warm, restless waters with a quiet, fearsome majesty. They were the lords of a world still young, their presence a bold stroke in the early sketch of existence, ruling the shallow seas and intertidal realms where life's first tentative steps were taken. Yet, as the eons drifted by, like soft waves lapping against the shores of time, a new chapter began to unfold in the great saga of the earth, a chapter etched deep within a division of the Paleozoic rocks known as the Silurian, strata so ancient that many learned geologists now believe them to stretch back a staggering 500 million years, a span so vast it humbles the mind. It was in these Silurian depths, where the Earth's rocky archives whisper of a world long vanished, that a new and wondrous type of being emerged, as if summoned by the quiet call of creation. These creatures, unlike any that had come before, were gifted with keen eyes that pierced the murky waters, sharp teeth that gleamed with the promise of predation, and swimming prowess of an altogether more powerful kind, their bodies gliding through the ancient seas with a grace and strength previously unseen. These were the first known backboned animals, the earliest fishes, their forms marked by the revolutionary framework of a spine, a structure that would echo through the ages as the cornerstone of a new lineage. Known as the vertebrata, these pioneers of the deep heralded a turning point in the story of life. Their arrival, a bold new verse in the eternal song of existence, sung beneath the waves of a world awakening to its own boundless potential. As the ancient chronicle of the Earth's rocky record unfolds, we ascend into the next great chapter, etched within the strata known as the Devonian system, a time when the seas teemed with a vibrant, burgeoning vitality. Here, the fishes, those pioneering vertebrates with their gleaming eyes and swift, sinuous forms, multiplied with a quiet, relentless vigor, their numbers swelling until they dominated the waters of the world. So abundant were these creatures, so vivid their presence in the fossil-laden rocks, that this epoch has been christened the Age of Fishes, a title that echoes through the ages like a soft hymn sung by the waves themselves. In this distant era, the seas pulsed with a newfound liveliness, their depths alive with motion, color, and the ceaseless dance of life's unfolding drama. These were no ordinary creatures, but beings of a primal splendor, some bearing patterns now vanished from the earth, their forms lost to the mists of time, while others bore a kinship to the sharks and sturgeons that still glide through our modern seas. With graceful ferocity, they rushed through the warm, sunlit waters, their bodies slicing through the currents like living blades, now leaping into the air in fleeting bursts of freedom, now weaving among the swaying fronds of ancient seaweeds, browsing with quiet deliberation. They pursued one another in an endless cycle of hunter and hunted, their sharp teeth flashing as they preyed upon their kin, each chase a fleeting note in the grand symphony of survival. The waters, once silent and still, now thrummed with a restless energy, animated by the ceaseless motion of these early lords of the deep, their presence breathing life into the vast, shimmering expanse of the world's primordial oceans. By the measure of our present day, none of these creatures grew to monstrous proportions, their sizes modest in the grand tapestry of life's later giants. Most were humble in stature, their sleek forms stretching no more than 2 or 3 feet in length, darting through the seas with a delicate, unassuming grace. Yet, among them were exceptional beings, rare titans of their time, whose bodies extended as long as 20 feet, their massive forms gliding through the ancient waters with a quiet, awe-inspiring majesty. These were the sovereigns of the Devonian seas, their legacy etched in the rocks, a testament to a world awakening to the boundless possibilities of life's eternal journey. In the silent, shadowed depths of the Earth's ancient chronicle, the geological record stands mute, offering no whisper, no trace of the ancestors of those pioneering fishes that swam through the Devonian seas. These early vertebrates, with their gleaming eyes and sinuous forms, seem to emerge as if from a dream, unconnected to the myriad forms that stirred in the waters before them. The rocks, those steadfast keepers of time, guard their secrets closely, revealing no hint of the lineage that gave rise to these creatures, leaving their origins veiled in the soft, impenetrable mists of the distant past. Yet, the curious minds of zoologists, ever eager to unravel the mysteries of life, weave their own intricate tapestries of speculation, drawing not from the silent stones, but from the delicate dance of life still unfolding in the present. By studying the development of eggs in the living kin of these ancient fishes, creatures like the skate and dogfish, and from other subtle clues, they piece together a vision of a lineage born in obscurity, a story whispered across the ages. These ancestors, as imagined by those who ponder life's deep roots, were likely soft-bodied beings, delicate and unassuming, perhaps no larger than a fleeting shadow in the warm primordial waters. These small swimming creatures, adrift in a world still raw and unformed, began their tentative journey toward distinction by crafting the first hard structures, teeth sharp and resolute, forming around and within the delicate margins of their mouths. In creatures like the skate or dogfish of our modern seas, we see echoes of this ancient innovation, teeth that line the roof and floor of their mouths, transitioning seamlessly at the lips into flattened, tooth-like scales that encase their bodies in a protective embrace. These scales, like a suit of living armor, shielded their forms as they glided through the ancient currents. And so, in the geological record, as these fishes developed their intricate lattice of teeth and scales, they swam forth from the hidden darkness of a forgotten past, emerging into the light of history as the first vertebrated animals to leave their mark upon the Earth's eternal archive, a radiant debut in the grand unfolding saga of life.